Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Just getting through watering my orchids again. Trying to increase the amount of watering I do on these to get them to plump up on these pseudo bulbs on the Cattleyas. I'm not sure I can overwater these in the winter. They just dry out real quickly. And they have like the little creases in them when they're starting to dehydrate on the bulbs. So this bark I don't think retains too much moisture, even though I have the moss on the top. Let's go take a look at the other ones. So I'm still running the humidifier. Let's turn this off. And here is the tobacco all the way up to the ceiling. Now I did notice last week there was some sticky residue, and I knew exactly what was going on. And lo and behold, one of these stems, not the whole tree, but one of the stems was just caked with scale. So I just took a wet paper towel and ran it over the stem and took all the bugs off, all the scale, and tried to get as much as I could. I looked around the other leaves, but it was only seemed like that one main stem. It was a whole colony of scale, so hopefully I've knocked that down somewhat. But you can see there, it's all the way up to the ceiling. So here's the Phalaenopsis, and you can see there, got the stem there with the flowers forming, and I do have two stems again, two flower spikes. So there's the other one coming close behind. And here's the Cattleyas. Now some of these look kind of plump, but the one there closer to the window, well, I kind of stressed that one pseudo bulb there, and I think it was at the end of the plant where maybe I made a cut when I divided. So it didn't make it. That's the one that had like a split. It had dried out so much it had split, but then it had plumped right up again, and then it just died back again. So yeah, no flowers on the Cattleyas. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's either watering or sunlight, right, or fertilizer, and I don't know. I just haven't found the right formula for the Cattleyas in my environment. So I even have this tray here with some aquarium gravel in it, humidity tray, and well, hopefully someday I'll get these to flower too, maybe all at the same time, so I'll have 3 Cattleyas flowering. That would be great, because this variety here, I forget the name of it, pretty spectacular. Jubilee? Is that all of a sudden that came to my mind here? No, I have to go back to my video. I can see the word Jenny there. It looks like it's a cross between 2 varieties. I'll have to go back to the videos to see when I originally opened this up, receiving it in the mail, what the name was. I forgot. I knew there was something I wanted to do. I need to get that name and write that back onto the label there that's faded. Let's go take a look at some of the other plants. So I wish I didn't discover that it was kind of easy to propagate citrus from seeds, and that they are going to be true to the variety. I believe that's correct. So here's a couple of citrus. There's a grapefruit on the right, and this here is the Miwa kumquat. I have a bunch of these Miwa kumquat plants, but they're mostly in bark, but I think they're getting to the point where the amount of growth can't be supported by the root mass. So it looks like they may be having a little difficulty maintaining moisture to the upper leaves here. In the corner here are 2 avocados. They look like they're getting stressed too. This one here, I might have stressed this and let it dry out. And again, it's mostly a little soil and perlite mix. This one seems to be doing okay, but this one all of a sudden had some stress period, and I noticed all of a sudden, at first I thought maybe I hope there wasn't any white flies or some type of pest, but there isn't. It looks just like, or it could be maybe a fertilizer problem. Might have over-fertilized it or something. But those are the two avocados. And here's the African blue basil. I wanted to videotape this and document it so I could cut off all of the flower stalks because it's pretty messy. Little flowers all fall off, dry off after they've bloomed. But I can start taking a lot of cuttings off of this. I did have a cutting that I had in water forever, and then it just, I put it in soil eventually, and it just started taking off. So here's some lemongrass. I think I need to divide that. I think there's a lot of dead material in that pot. And I have the still some stalks there. And you don't smell anything until you break it, cut it, or squish it. And let's see. Okay, it verifies it. I haven't verified it. I was like, well, maybe that's just a weed, but no, it's lemongrass. Here's a mango. The runt is still a runt, but it's slowly progressing. And the Christmas or Thanksgiving cactus are blooming again. Got the aloe vera. Sort of just tend to forget about this plant. There's a little shoot off on the side there. I could probably divide. And there's the obligatory geraniums. I don't really need to take care of them and give them the right amount of sun and maybe repot them. I was going to get rid of them, but I decided to save this. This is the California Gold banana plant. And I almost cut it down because the center leaf wasn't protruding for like months. And I thought maybe it had rotted down to the corm. But all of a sudden it came through. So it's making it. And like I said, with the citrus, there's a bunch of the Miwa kumquats. Is that small amaryllis bulb, which sort of perked up the leaf once I put it in the soil there. Speaking of which, let me go show you the progress on those two amaryllis bulbs. So there are the two amaryllis bulbs. And I'm pretty sure these are the two red ones. So that other small one is also a red. So I did save the red ones. Let's see. Oh yeah, I see a little tip of a leaf coming up there, and this leaf here is coming out. But they look like they're the red ones. Definitely got the tinge of red. I don't know if the camera's picking that up. So they're progressing. Now here's that Meyer lemon tree that we go back a long time with this tree. I've had it for a long time. And guess what? I just lopped it back, but made sure I didn't go, past the graph. And this is all new growth here. I guess that's one way to get rid of scale. And it's coming along. Had some flowers. But this is the one that at one point in time I dropped a car jack on it by accident. And split it in half, and this is all dead wood here, but it's healing up, slowly covering it up. I think it's going to have like a hollow spot in the middle of it if this eventually closes. But yeah, I just lopped it down to these two branches. I know it doesn't look good, but I did get rid of a couple of citrus, and I knew I was going to regret it, but they're just getting too big and too much to be moving around, especially a couple of ones I had in the turfus mix. So that's the status of that Meyer lemon tree. Well, like I said, I've got all these citrus trees here. I can tell by the shape of these leaves. These are the Miwa kumquats. These are just the store-bought grapefruit seeds. And those are all Miwa kumquats. And this is the mango. This is the, is that some sticky, kind of sticky on the underside. That's kind of weird. Unless that's something that comes out of these leaves' head. Again, there's some issue here with, I think they need to be up potted. The soil is just not enough to keep up with the demand from these leaves, although they seem kind of waxy, that maybe they don't evaporate water as much. But this underside of this leaf is all sticky. Kind of weird. And here's yet another grapefruit. These are all the ones I started from seed. Let's go take a look in the cellar. So here's some more citrus. Got another Meyer lemon tree form, and the lemons are really puny. There's a tango. This is tango mandarin, and it looks like it has a bunch of flowers that are starting to form. Sort of a semi-dormant stage. You know, it's kind of cool, and there's no heat given off by the fluorescent lights. There's some more Miwa kumquats. And I just moved all my figs back into the lean-to. I think we're kind of through any chance of Arctic sub-zero temperatures. And some of the buds started opening up on some of the fig trees, so trying to get them to get back into dormancy, put them out into the lean-to. Let's go take a look. It's another citrus that I took out there. That's the first air layer, or the only air layer that I've done to date on a citrus, and it's loaded with flower buds. So here are the fig trees, and let's see, this is a black Madeira here, a young black Madeira. You can see it's still sort of green, but the buds started opening up. So hopefully I'm going to slow it down again by keeping it out here instead of in the cellar. At least it's going to get some natural light. Some of these buds are starting to swell, so hopefully we'll slow that down. Oh, and guess what? I have a bunch of the Korean Evodia trees, so I'm going to have some 2-year-old Korean Evodia trees. 1 year closer to having a nice sized tree. With curious to see how they do in New England. I think they're pretty hardy. The videos that I've seen on YouTube, it looks like a lot of these are being grown in Eastern Europe. So I think that, but young trees, I don't know how hardy they are, so I brought them inside. I think there was a problem with some of these. Either there's some virus, or it was the cold roots, and then all of a sudden, if we had a warm day here in the lean-to, we had some dieback, and I don't know if that means it's going to die all the way down and kill the whole plant. But I do still have a bunch that have survived. But I think I lost some of my fig trees. It just, like I said, they're getting too much to be transporting around, and I just got lazy. And some of the varieties that I wasn't too concerned with. So whether they're completely dead or they've just died down, maybe to the main trunk or down to the soil line, we'll find out in the spring. But moved them all out here into the lean-to. Yeah, and here's that citrus. I better bring it back in. It's going to get cold again. And it's just loaded with flowers, or flower buds waiting to open. And here's another Korean Evodia tree. Here's another one. So I took the best ones, and I'm trying to protect them, but I still have a bunch of flats here with Korean Avodia trees. Looks like some of them might not have made it. So I was thinking, like I said, it was the combination of the cold roots, and then all of a sudden it would get pretty warm in here, and with direct sun on the stems, they would just die back. I thought that was the reason. So I was keeping them under the bench so they would still, not have any direct light. But how are they going to be protected when they're out? When they're outside, they're not going to. So if they can't survive, they can't survive. And here are the rest of the fig trees. I think they're going to be safe in here until the spring. So I don't want them to come out of dormancy too early in the cellar. So at least in here they'll have sunlight and be protected from any freezing temperatures. So as you can see, all the snow's gone, and I think the bees are still hanging in there. So this is New England Gardening, and that's an update on the houseplants and the fig trees and the citrus. Thanks for watching.